Hey, I'm Steve Krentz for Guitar Gathering, and thank you for being a part of this lesson on our Beatles songs. And this is the iconic song, Here Comes the Sun, written in 1969 by George Harrison. You know, that time the Beatles had already been out for a while, and so they were, their lives had changed from just being friends that were making music to now they were a commodity. Now they were a worldwide phenomenon, and their lives were starting to become filled with accountants and business people and meetings and contracts and things like that. So it was on a day like that George Harrison looked at his calendar, and it was just meetings with business people all day long, and he just couldn't take it anymore. He tried to get away from it, so he went to a friend of his, Eric Clapton's house in England, and spent a couple of days there. And so one morning, it was in April, he came out to Eric Clapton's garden, and it was just starting to come through. Spring was just starting to be in the air. You know, looking back on the weather reports from that year, 1969, when this was written, February and March was some of the coldest, dreariest days in England at that time. It was truly a long, cold, lonely winter, as the song says. But spring in April was just starting to come around the corner. So he skipped his duties for the day and blew off all of that and went to Eric Clapton's house, grabbed his guitar, and went out into the garden. And as spring was just starting to be around the corner and dawning, he wrote this song. And that's where we get Here Comes the Sun from. So it's quite an amazing story how it all came out. And that ended up being one of the most well-known Beatles songs, even bigger than Let It Be. So many people have recorded it, and as far as popularity and things like that, it got higher on the charts than even Let It Be. So hey, there's a PDF that goes along with this lesson, so make sure you have downloaded that and have your guitar in front of you so that we can work through all of these things together. So if you've got the PDF, go ahead and take it out and take a look at that first page. Now, as accessible as this wonderful song is, it is deceptively complicated in its notation. So I want to give a disclaimer as we even start. Don't get intimidated by that. I'm going to guide you through it. It's not a very complicated song to play, but written out, it looks a little bit more intimidating than you might think. So let's just get started into it. The key, well, here's our first problem. It's in the key of A. I mean, it sounds in the key of A. So the chords that we are playing are... Now, but on guitar, when we play it, of course we play it with a capo at the 7th position. And we are now thinking as guitarists in the key of D. And it is now sounding in the key of A. One of the beautiful things about capos is that we get this bright sound, especially this is about as high as you can take a capo as the 7th fret. And so don't get confused on that. We're going to talk more about that in a second. I'm thinking in D, but it is sounding, because of the capo, in A. So because of this unique problem, we're going to have to do some adjustments along the way. But that's the first thing. The song is in A. So if you tried to play along with a piano or a bass player or something like that, they're going to be playing in A. So we need to learn it in A as well as in D. So that's the first thing. Now the song form. All right. It's a great song. Sounds beautiful. Song form is not traditional. So it starts off with an 8-bar intro. The little, that part is the 8-bar intro. Then you immediately go to the chorus. The chorus is only 7 bars, not the traditional 8 bars. After that, you go to a verse, which is 8 bars. I go back to the chorus. I add a little extra measure in there, so it ends up being 9 measures of a chorus now. And then we take it around, and then there's this bridge. The bridge starts off with a little interlude, and it's all mixed meter. That's the part of it that you're going, let's see. That section of the song, on the music, you're going to see it as 7/8 and 5/8 and 6/8 and alternating back every measure. Just listen to the pattern of it. That's what makes it. And you'll get that. We'll talk more about that later. So the bridge looks way more intimidating than it actually is. So you've got this bridge with all of the different meter changes in it, 6/8, 7/8, 5/8. Don't get intimidated by that. I'll guide you through all of that. And then you eventually end up with the verse and the chorus back again. And that's the form of the song. The time signature, most of it we're in 4/4, except for this rather odd bridge where we're doing all of these triplet sort of patterns. On the recording, it is 130 beats per minute. Pretty quick. So even on the play-along track, it's going to be 130 beats per minute. So if you turn over to page 2, let's talk about the play-along track. Okay, the play-along track is a YouTube video. So the link is in the PDF there, and you can click that and go right to the play-along track for it. Now, here's the deal with the play-along track. It is exactly like the Beatles recording. 130 beats per minute, and takes you all the way through the song, all the way through the bridge, all the way through the many times it goes through the bridge and stuff like that. So it ends up being a little bit of a longer play-along track than we would typically have on songs. But it's exactly like the recording, and it's the best one that I found for it, so I wanted to go ahead and use it. How it starts off with 4 clicks on beats 1 and 3 for 2 measures, and then you'll notice it kind of goes to nothing there for a while with just a little shaker in the background. That's where you would be playing this acoustic guitar part. And after about 4 or 5 bars of that, then you'll hear the synth come in and eventually the band and the whole thing come in. So don't freak out when you hear click, 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 nothing. Okay, that's where you would be playing the acoustic guitar intro there. But there is a little shaker so you can keep the time going there. And the track goes through the entire form of the song. Now, remember, on YouTube, you can go down to the lower right-hand corner of your YouTube screen and slow down that recording. You can slow it down to 75%, 50%, things like that. So if it's going too fast, and it probably will if you're just learning the song, it goes pretty quick. Slow it down. Even on these recordings that I'm going to be doing here, if that's too fast for you as you're learning the song, just slow it down. Just slow it down. All right. Let's talk about working with the capo. We already talked a little bit about its sounds in the key of A, but we as guitar players are going to be thinking about it in the key of D. Therefore, we need to put our capo at the 7th fret. Now, let's talk a little bit about how it's notated. Everything is notated as if it's in the open position, as if there's no capo. Everything's notated as if there was no capo. And then it just tells you, put on your capo here. So don't freak out when you see things up here and you have to be, it's notated as open. I know that seems confusing that it would be notated that way, but as soon as you try and notate capoed things with open strings, you'll really get messed up because everything's in the wrong place. So that's why we do it, that's why we notate it this way. So how you should practice it is learn it in the open position without a capo. Learn it in the open position. Just play it like that. When you've got it down, then put the capo back on it and then play it in D, and you'll be ready to go. Okay? So if you want to play along with the track and not use the capo, then play along with the notes in the key of A, as I have written here, the first melody in A. If you want to play along with the capo, then capo it up and play it in D, which is the second melody that I have written. So I have the written melody in A, and I have the written melody in the key of D. Then the solo arrangement at the end is going to be in the key of D. Wow, that's a lot of introduction for this song. Let's get in it. All right? So as we're getting into that, you'll notice the bridge is this strange little thing. The solo guitar arrangement, I just did the arrangement and then I just did a little addendum to the bridge. If you wanted to add the bridge, I tell you where you can put the bridge into the solo guitar arrangement. If you don't want to add the bridge, forget about it. Don't worry about it. It's kind of complicated. Don't worry about it. If you don't want to mess with that, don't worry about it. There's all kinds of places to jump in on this song. All right, so let's first talk about the intro. Look at page 3. This is where the fun starts. So we are going to first learn it open. So I'm going to take off my capo, and we're going to learn this open. I just did a simple single note version of this. There's 2 parts of the melody, the 2 parts of this intro, the melody line and then the chords. Now how George Harrison played it, and I looked at many different video clips of actually him playing it. What he's doing is he's playing the melody, which we're going to learn, but he's also adding these chords to it. So you have a sort of a... That's why I have the chords written down there too. So let's first learn the melody, and then we're going to put this little lazy strumming chords behind it. All right, so here we go. This is the melody. These are the top part of page 3. We're going to learn it open, and then we'll capo it up. Starts with an open D, and you're basically kind of in a D chord shape. So I have the finger numbers written in circles above or beside the note. F sharp, D, E, F. You could do all of that with your D shape, just moving a note here and there, moving your second finger off and on. Remember, in the key of D, we have F sharps and C sharps, so don't forget about that. And here I would go to sort of a G shape. So my third finger is going to be busy doing this, so that's why I put my pinky on this D here. This is just an exact repeat of the first 4 bars, first 2 bars. Now here, I'm going to use my second or my third on this low G, and then that way my first finger can catch this F sharp. All right, so let me play just the intro single notes, okay? And you try and play it with me. I'll do it nice and slow. This is just the first 2 lines, just the intro with the single notes. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the melody. Take a look at the chords. Go down to the bottom part there. We're going to do a kind of a lazy strumming pattern. It's just a D, G, and an A. So you end up with a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's just the pattern. It's just a lazy down and up strum. Down and up for each beat. So this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now you'll know that this is the second measure. I've got this 2 dots and a line. That just means continue to play the same pattern that you were doing earlier. So we're just going to change chords over that pattern. So you try and play it with me. Nothing complicated about it at all. Here we go. This is the intro chords. 1, 2, just a down and up, lazy strum. 2, ready, go. 2, 3, 4. Second measure. 2, 3. And now the G. A7. Whole note there at the end, okay? And that's the 8 bars of the intro. So how do we combine this? All right, so we're going to have our lazy strum going. And then I'm going to try and pick out that melody. So it's going to be something like this. So I'm playing the melody as I'm kind of strumming. But aren't you going to get some extra notes in there? Yeah, that's exactly. It's not hard to do once you kind of get the hang of the lazy strum part of it. Okay, so you try and play that with me where we're doing the lazy strum, and then we're going to do this little intro as well. I realize you may not have the notes down yet. That's okay. Just come back to it and slow it down. Here we go. 1, 2, ready. Let's get the lazy strum first. Okay, now let's start the melody. Ready, and... So you just see wherever I can, I try and add a little bit of strum, but my hand is always going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, that's how George Harrison plays it on every recording that you see with him doing that, just kind of a lazy strum. So as you start it, you want to try and get that melody a little bit accurate. And then you can start getting more and more into the lazy strum part of it. And that's the intro. If you're looking for a good place to start, try learning just those 8 measures. If you can't do the strum and the melody, work on just the melody. And then work on, see if you can incorporate some of that strum in it as well. Play the first measure pretty much like the melody. And then just start adding that lazy strum in there. Now, we've learned it open, but where he plays it at is with a capo at the 7th fret. So if I capo it up, and we're going to play the same thing we just did with a lazy strum and the melody, now capoed up at the 7th fret. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. There you go. That's the intro part of it. Flip over the page and let's start getting into the melody. So take a look at page 4. This is going to be the melody, and we're going to play this in the key of A. So we're going to take off our capo. We're going to go back to the key of A, and we're going to learn this down in the open part of the neck. Now, we're going to play this. This is, if I was playing the recording and I wanted to just play along and not have the capo, then I would play this. I would play it in A. Okay? I'm going to do this in 2nd position. So let me play this melody first, and then we're going to talk about it. So we're going to play it with the track first, and then I will guide you through it. 2, 1, 2, melody, and. There you go. Something like that there. The bridge kind of threw me off there for a little bit. We'll talk you through that. All right, so basically here's the deal. I'm playing it in the key of A, which is the key that it's sounding in. Okay, and if I wanted to play along with the recording, this is what I would play in. Okay, so I'm in key of A. We got F sharps, C sharps, and G sharps. I'm playing it in the second position, and it only involves a few notes. C sharp, A, B, C sharp. First finger, third finger, first finger. F sharp. Now here I have to switch back to the open position. I catch this F sharp with my fourth finger. And then I basically play the same thing again. Back up to the second position now, back to the first finger. Just slide back for this G sharp. Okay, here's the chorus. You can see it's just a few notes. All right, so let's talk about this. I'm going to use a slide. I'm going to start the E with my third finger, and I'm going to slide up to the F sharp. First finger on the A. So I end up with that shape there. Third finger, first finger, open. And then I have E, A, B. I go to that shape. Third finger, first finger, open. Second finger, third finger, open. D, open finger. A, B, E, A, B. Now I've got every finger written in there, so you don't need to worry about what anything is. I've got it all written in. And then second, first, fourth, second. All right, so that lick there, let me do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. We go through the verse and the chorus again. It basically does that whole page again. Let's skip over to page 3. And I do a little bit of a refrain and measure 31 of the initial melody there. First finger, fourth finger, first finger, second. And then I would repeat back to the verse. Okay, so I play through all that again. Play through this time. I would take the second ending. So starting in measure 31, it would be... Now here's where it starts getting thick. We have a G sharp, I have an E, G sharp, B, an E triad. Now, here's where I screwed up when I was playing just a second ago. I tried to play it open. You can do it there, but you'll end up, as I did, falling because you've got to do things too quickly. So the easier place to play that is going to be up here at the third position. Trust me, it's going to be the third position. Third finger on the C, fourth finger on the E, first finger on the G, C major triad, then a G major triad, 3, 2, 1, then a D major triad, F sharp, A, D, then you just let your third finger off, D, F sharp, A. So you'll notice it's 4 triads in a row. Okay, and don't worry about all the different time things, just follow the eighth notes. Okay, so you do that with me. We're going to start in measure 33 with the second ending, nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, go. G sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does it again. 1. Now here it starts the sun, sun, sun. Here it comes. Now, if you want to play that part, it's just first finger, B, A, and then F sharp. But usually, what the guitar is doing is you're continuing to do that little. So if you want to just keep playing that lick at the beginning of the bridge and measure 34, 35, you're welcome to do that too. Now on the recording, it repeats round and round and round and round about 5 times. Okay, so we're going to do. You can repeat that. I think it goes 5 times through that, and then when it eventually spins out of that, it goes to the 5th ending there in measure 42, G sharp, third finger on that D there. And then it's a DS, means go back to the sign, which is at measure 16, and then you play through all that again. Until you get to the bottom of page 5, you see that little crosshair sign. That means coda, so you would jump over to the page 7 and start playing there. Basically, it's just the melody again. Sorry. We have our little lick. A little recap of the melody, a little tag there. We play the lick again. Then we play our lick from the bridge. Sorry. So that last line on page 7, let's just try and do that together. Sliding into it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. All right, so we've got a little bit of the bridge and the melody worked out in the key of A. So I know that's a lot. That's a lot of song there. Just grab what you can. Don't get intimidated by it. Just grab a little bit what you can. If that bridge is too complicated, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right, so we've played it in the key of A now. So let's put that away and let's look at the melody as if I was playing it as I'm going to be playing it with a capo. And so I would be playing it now thinking in the key of D. All right, so now I'm going to put my capo on. Actually, let's not put the capo on just yet. Let's learn it open. When you do things with a capo, when you learn capoed parts, here's what I found as a professional player. Learn them open first, and then put the capo on, and it'll be a lot easier for you than trying to work with it with a capo at the beginning. All right, so let's take a look at it open. So this is page 8. All right. Now, the melody is the same melody, but now it's changed keys, so I've got to play it a little bit different. I'm in the sort of a D chord shape, so it'd be 1. I go to sort of a G shape. Playing this in the open position. And here's the chorus, 1. 1. 1. Now, here's the lick as George Harrison played it, because remember, he's capoed up. So he starts with the second finger on this A. We're going to slide up from the A to the B. First finger then on the D, and we hit the open E underneath it. Slide back, we have the A is in the second finger, D is on the third finger, still have the open E, then we have open G, still this third finger D, A, back to second finger on the A, and then we spin out of it D, C sharp, B, A. So if we played that, those two measures, 2, 3, 4. Good. Do it again. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then we basically play the whole next page is just same thing as the first page. Okay. We get over to our first ending there, measure 31, like we did before. And let's take a look at this bridge. All right. Starting in the second ending there, measure 32, or excuse me, 33. I have the chord here. Then I go A, C sharp, remember it's still a C sharp, third finger, open, third, first, and then F, F, A, C, C, E, G, B, D, G with my second finger, G, B, D. So I add all of those up together, you get 2, 3, 4, 2 chords. Now you can keep playing the lick, or you can do the single notes. And then you play that 5 times. Get to the 5th ending, measure 42. And then we're back to that. So let's skip down to the last line of the song, measure 55 there. We have our little lick that we slide in with our second finger. Then our little bridge lick. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, open. 2, open, open. And then 3, 2. And then the chord. There you go. Okay, so I would encourage you to learn it open. Learn it open. And then put the capo on it. So we're going to put our capo on now. Once you've learned it, then we start working with the capo. So now we're going to play this with a track. And I'm going to play now in the key of D with the 7th capo at the 7th fret. You try and play along with me. And if you're not quite ready for it, then go back, work it open again, slow it down, do whatever you need to. And this we'll try to do this as the performance track. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. There's the melody in the key of D. Now remember the process we went through. We learned it open without the capo. Then we put the capo on and played it together. All right, so there you go. Now you've got the melody. You can play it in A without a capo. You can play it in D with a capo. All right, so now let's take a look at the solo guitar arrangement there. So turn over to page 12 in your PDF, and let's take a look at the solo guitar arrangement. All right, so let me just play this for you. Let's look at it first before I play it. Okay, so I have this arrangement I've had for many years, and I've played for many different things. I basically do the intro, the chorus, and the verse, and generally I don't play the bridge. But I thought I would add the bridge as kind of a little addendum. So you'll notice on page 15, you'll see the bridge there. And it gives you little notations right at the beginning up top of page 15 where to insert that bridge if you wanted to play that bridge. So I'm going to play it without the bridge, and then I'm going to play that little bridge addendum, and you can hear. This is doing finger style, so we're going to do finger style for this one. And let me play it for you first. Now, of course, you can play it back around. You can play that verse and chorus back around a bunch of times and make it as long as you want to. Now, if I wanted to add the bridge in, I would be coming from basically where the coda sign is at the end of measure 15. I would add this bridge. So let me play the bridge for you, and then we'll talk about it. So this is coming from like measure 15. And then I back into it. So that's the bridge if you wanted to add that bridge into it. All right, so let's go back and talk about what happened at back on page 12. So here, unlike George Harrison, when he's playing it with a strumming and flat pick sort of approach, we're going to do this one finger style. So I don't have a pick, and I'm basically still playing the same note. So I've got a D shape. Now, I'm adding a little grace note here. Don't overly worry about that. Learn it without the grace note first, and then you add the grace note in. But if you wanted to add the grace note in, be a little pull off from that F sharp to the E. Second finger on the low G, that's very important. Third finger on the D. Notice what's happening in the bass. Second, open, second, open. That frees me up to hit this A7th in a traditional form there, and then I pull off from the C sharp to the open B beneath it. Now I'm going to do tenths. Remember we've talked about tenths in the past? First and third on the B and D, first and third on the C sharp and E. You can add that inner note if you want to there. I was just adding that inner note. Then I play this again, this exact repeat of the first two measures. Little pull off there. If you want to keep doing the pull off. And And then we get to the chorus. Now, you'll notice there's some double notes in there. Don't freak out. It's the same lick we've been playing. I've just added some of the inner lines with it. So instead of playing just the single note, I added just the D to it. Nothing's happening. I'm still in the D shape. And then I do that same trick here. I just add that second string. But I've got to hit this D with my pinky to get to that E7. So, because that's the shape I'm going to end up with there. So if I put all of that together starting in measure 9, it'd be... And I go to measure 13, I hit the A. And I'm going to do sixths. A and F sharp, G and an E, and then I hit an F sharp and a D, and I like to play those. Now remember, I'm saying them as if it was open, but we're actually capoed up, so don't freak out on that. Second finger here, first finger on that. So I'm saying F sharp and D because I'm thinking in the D, but actually the notes are whatever that is. That would be a C sharp and an A. Okay, so just don't freak out at that. I'm thinking in D. You're going to be thinking in D. So if I wrote them as C sharp and A, that would freak you out. So we write them as if it were open. Second finger on the G, hammering onto that D to the open E. I slide that second finger back. So I have F sharp and A, pinky on that D now. Just let these top two notes off. E and G open, put them back on, F sharp and A back on. And then I'm already got my pinky in the right spot for the A suspended seventh. Little pull off to that third finger. And there you go. So that whole line starting in measure 13 would be. And then this verse is just like it was before. Just arpeggiating right up the chord. DS means go back to the sign. The sign is that little squiggly S looking thing at measure 9. I would play all that again. Okay, and I play all that again until I get to the end of measure 15. And if I wanted to end it, I would just skip right to the ending, measure 24 there. So starting in measure 13, it would be... measure 24. Instead of an F, I play an F2. I just thought that was cooler. C with an E in the bass. G with a B in the bass. Second finger or third finger on that low G. Hit the D and then I hit the chord. So that ending is... Now, if I wanted to add the bridge in, this is the bridge starting as if I was coming out of measure 15. So getting into that, if I was doing a measure 13. Bridge. I do 2 hits of this A7. Then I do the little lick that I taught y'all a few minutes ago. Open, third, first, and then 3, 2, 1 on the FAC. 3, 2, open, 2, open, open, third. So I'm not going to belabor that too much because we just learned that a few minutes ago. Hit 2 A7s. Now here, I just added the top note. Just did a little arpeggiation of an F chord, C chord, G with a B in the bass, pinky on that high D. So that starting in measure 7 would be. I hit the A 7th, I hit the A and then the top 3 notes, and I go back and forth. And then I play this again. Now, I've got it written down 5 times just because that's what it did on the recording, and that's a little long actually to keep playing that over and over again. You may just want to only do that twice. So when you spin out of that into the 5th ending there, measure 11, we'll pull off to the 4th finger, pull back to the 3rd finger, open E there. Now here, I'm just going to strum with my finger. 2, 3, and 4. I'm strumming with my index finger. That's all I'm doing. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And then I would jump back to measure 16 and play it out from there. So let me play all of that bridge for you. F, C, G with a B, 2 A7s, let me take the 2nd ending, and then I'm back to the verse, the little darling part there at the verse. And there you go. Wow, that is a long song. There's a lot to cover there. I hope you enjoy working on it. Once you kind of get the flow of it, it's really just D, A, and G. And then you have this bridge that goes through some different triads there. So there's some challenges for everybody. It's challenges for an intermediate player, challenges for a beginner player, challenges for an advanced player there. So I hope you've got enough to work on there. If you're in the intermediate stage, then I would worry about learning the melody, maybe work on playing that intro and trying to get those chords right from that. And then if you want to start diving into the solo arrangement, great. If not, don't worry about it. So the goal of this is just to grab what you think you can do and go like one step farther to show you how you can get to the next stage of this. If you're not ready for the solo arrangement, don't worry about it. Put it on the shelf and work on it later. Just find the part that you think you can do and then go a little bit beyond it. I hope you enjoy learning this song. Remember, you can always slow things down on the YouTube video screen by clicking that gear icon and slowing things down. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Enjoy learning this amazing song, and we will see you guys next time.